Winds of Winter update, everybody. I can't even do this without laughing anymore because it's such a joke. It's clearly never going to happen. I've been working in AI and just messing around saying, hey, can you do things like different authors out there? And I was like, it'd be very funny just to create different works of these authors. I thought about for a second, just as a troll, actually putting out Winds of Winter and doing it via AI. The problem is, for AI to really work, you need to have a grasp of the characters and all that. I have not read the entire Song of Ice and Fire. I stopped in book 3 because I was just done with it. Once they, I guess spoilers, killed the Stark family, I was like, I'm out. What's the point of this story? And it turns out there's not one because he's not even going to bother finishing it. And so that would still be an epic troll. You can copy authors' styles. Like I said, you need to put in prompts that are very specific and you have to kind of have a direction for the character. Otherwise, it's not going to work out very well. You still need somebody to direct it like it's a film. And so you'd have to have a big fan of George R.R. Martin to pull that off. But even George R.R. Martin doesn't seem to want to bother with that. That actually, George R.R. Martin, if you do watch this video, maybe you should just use ChatGPT. GPT and just do it. Nobody will notice. Just finish it. All right, here we are. He calls completing Winds of Winter the curse of my life in a rant attempting to deflect criticism. Yes, it's the curse of this thing that made you $1 gazillion that everybody wanted you to finish, that is your work that as a novelist you really promised that it's going to be finished, that it's the whole point of having a series like this, and you just failed your fans and everybody's pissed because you didn't do the work is what it came down to. All right, let's get into this. Hit the like and subscribe button as we talk about the real fantasy news here. I'm having too much fun with this. I always am. Thank you guys for being here. And guys, I'm a fantasy author myself. I decided to write just a one and done book because back in the day, before all these epic fantasy big door stoppers and all that, fantasy was really just a short 200-300 page book, and it'd be finished. You'd start it, it'd be end for the most part, and that's kind of how they sold books before modern times. And I like that. I really like the Silver Age ethos and the Golden Age ethos of the way that authors worked back then. The pulp mindset, really, it was excellent stuff. And the books back then are so good. So if you like that, like Roger Zelazny's Chronicles of Amber or Paul Anderson's Three Hearts, Three Lions, yeah, I'm digging a little deep beyond the Tolkien and Conan sort of references there. But if you like that kind of stuff, you're going to absolutely enjoy The Demon's Eye. It was written in a style meant to be like that, without AI. I did it myself, and I'd love for you to check it out. It's in the description below. Thank you guys so much for reading, making this a huge success. This has been my biggest launch ever of any book, and I'm hearing you. I guess I need to write some more fantasy, and I appreciate you guys for reading. It's available on Kindle and paperback in the description below. Thank you so much for reading. All right, so George R.R. Martin recently shared a new update on where he was with the next book on his Song of Ice and Fire, again, describing completing it as the curse of my life. Now, I think it's done. I don't think it's ever going to happen. I think he'll do anything other than write this book at this juncture. We've seen over the last just few months that he'll open a bar rather than finish this. He'll write a physics paper for an academic journal rather than finish this. He'll go work on something for HBO rather than finish this. He'll work on the Elden Ring rather than finish this. And maybe that's a better use of his time with the Elden Ring at the very least. But the other stuff, I don't know about that. But now he's given another interview, and of course he has to answer for this every single time he has an interview because he's failed. He really has failed at this point. Now I just think, how old is George R.R. Martin for real? I mean, George R.R. Martin age. He is 76 years old. I think he's probably lost his fastball a little bit. I think he knows that he can't write up to a quality that he used to, and he really didn't have a plan. I think the plan for the book was the ending that they had for the TV show that nobody liked. And once nobody liked that show on the TV show, I think it just froze him because it's just not going to work out at this juncture, right? And so, it was such a half measure, the TV show ending, right? It's like, what do you do with that? It's not all the way a tragedy. It's not, it tries to satiate people somewhat. And so it's because it felt like a half measure, it felt forced, it felt wrong. And that's exactly where he's at with his book. So what's he going to do? He has to try to come up with a new ending. It's not going to work. He says, that's the curse of my life here. There's no doubt that Winds of Winter is 13 years late. I'm still working on it. I have periods where I make progress, then others where I divert my attention I'm suddenly working for. I have a deadline for one of those HBO shows. I have something else to do. Yes, I think he has that more often than it's not. And remember last year, he also complained about Trump and the election and saying that, that the rise of fascism was making him not able to write his book. Ridiculous stuff, right? All these multimillionaires who are connected with Hollywood are always so scared of fascism that they can go speak out about it constantly. That's what you do when you're actually scared of fascism, right? And so that's what he has to do. But the two things are not connected, I swear. Okay, sure. I can tell you right now that the guy is looking for work, looking for anything actively to do to not work on it because, you'd have to work on it. That's pretty much it. He says, I open a bookstore. People say, why is George R.R. Martin opening a bookstore? He could be writing Winds of Winter. Yeah, good question. Why are you opening a bookstore? Now, and now we're getting this. I don't actually work in the bookstore. I own it. I hired people to do it. Okay, now here he tries to make a false sort of equivalency here, right? He tries to treat you like you're stupid as a fan, right? You're stupid for thinking that my opening a bookstore takes any of my time. Okay. As a person who runs multiple businesses here, I can tell you that all of it takes time. Even businesses I used to have that I don't run anymore, like sometimes there's legal stuff that has to be done with it. Sometimes there's filing stuff for taxes and things like that have to be done with it. And you have to take care of that. And it does take hours of your day, and it makes it so then you don't write the next chapter of your next book. I've been there a lot. I mean, fortunately, I just come out with my books pretty often, and I'm on top of it anyway. I just make sure regardless, I spend an hour or two a day doing it. No matter what, and that solves things. But I have to pay attention to those other businesses too, and so does he. And so even if he runs a bar or whatever, and he has a manager running it, he still has to have a meeting once a month with the manager, make sure it's profitable, make sure everything's going well, make sure he's got the right people hired. Otherwise, he has to hire new people. Then he has to conduct interviews for that, right? And so this is bullshit. I mean, sorry, pardon my French here, guys, but it drives me crazy when people pass the buck like this, and then they try to treat you like you're stupid. And this is like the typical Hollywood mentality. Oh, yeah, they always change things. They always cause problems. And then they treat you like you're dumb for noticing, or treat you like you're a problem or a bigot for noticing, right? It's always something with them where they never take responsibility for anything they do. If you go into a bookstore, yes, a lot of my books are there, which I've signed. Yeah, that didn't take any time, did it? And a lot of books by other people, I'm not going to ring up your register. I'm not going to order what books are coming in. Nobody said that, George R.R. Martin. But the fact that you did take the time to go sign all those, the fact that you did then have to run the business on at least the business side of things, and you do to some extent, does mean it is taking your time away from this stuff, as with the other things that I already mentioned in this video ad nauseum. It's crazy. He made similar comments about his theater. He has a theater also, apparently. I have a theater. I'm not the projectionist. And again, this is a false equivalent. He's just trying to treat you like you're stupid. But it does take you time to manage the business of the theater. It has to. They seem to overestimate how much time I'm putting into these things. Well, the thing is, it's a pattern, Mr. Martin. It's a pattern that you'll do anything to not do. I own stocks and bonds too. I don't attend the shareholder meetings. That's not even remotely the same thing. Having a passive investment sort of stocks and bonds sort of thing in a 401k or whatever is not the same thing as owning your own business and like having like an active ownership in something. Somebody has to manage it, and somebody has to manage the managers. It's very simple. This is ridiculous. It's acting like he's some passive board of directors sort of thing is ridiculous on this whole thing. You've heard exactly what role I play in the Direwolf thing. I'm sitting at home, might have been working on Winds of Winter or one of those screenplays, mostly one of those screenplays, and Peter Jackson's on the line. And I hear about this, and I travel out to see it. I did not seriously impinge on the Winds of Winter, but people make it seem, my more fanatic fans, as if it's one or the other, and it's not. Well, it very much is. And I think this is a lie, and I think it's cope, and I think he's not working on it very much, obviously, at this juncture. So this is pretty ridiculous. And like I said, he just treats people like they're stupid, and that's the main problem here. And, just be honest. Just be like, look, I'm not working on it as much as I like. I'm paralyzed by it. I really don't think I'm going to finish it. And I think people would just be like, okay, at least he's honest, right? But they can't be. They always have to lie. They always have to never take any sort of like responsibility for any actions that they actually do. And that's why the SJW world is the way it is, and that's why it's such a disaster. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit the like and subscribe button. Hey, for a finished fantasy that you could just read and get it done and then not have to wait for years and years and years hoping, get The Demon's Eye today. You'll love it. Thank you guys so much for reading, making this a huge success. Really appreciate you being there. It's in the description below. We'll be back soon.